Hello everyone, so I'm going to be going over my visual aids assignment, my presentation I made all about hamsters by Amber Holtman for my informative speech. Alright, let's get started. Hamster housing basics. Number one, the cage. So you need about a 15 to 20 gallon cage, minimum aquarium or wire cage. This was kind of similar to what my setup was when I had a hamster. I had a 20-gallon cage, and I actually ended up upgrading him to a 50-gallon aquarium cage, but also a wire cage. I have seen really awesome wire cages setups using, it's also got like a 20-gallon space limit. No critter trails. So I had these when I was 8 years old with my first ever hamster, and these are too small and too dangerous. This one specifically down here with um the dinosaur is extremely dangerous, and it's crazy that they made this. But yeah, it's really hard to clean this. You have to take like off like 100 pieces in order to clean this. Your hamster can get stuck in the tail, get stuck in the feet, get stuck in the head. And it'll be really hard to figure out if your hamster does get stuck, how to get him out. And same with even the smaller ones, the hamster wheel, if he gets stuck in there and can't get out, you'd have to take off a bunch of pieces, and again, super hard to clean, not very practical at all. And there's really no space here for bedding or any sort of enrichment. And overall, it's just too small and too dangerous. So yeah, no go. Hamster bedding. So paper bedding is best. I've heard non-scented. Most of my information, by the way, is coming from a vet that I've referenced later. Yeah, but multiple vets will say the same thing. But even cut up toilet paper is great. I've used that on a budget if I just couldn't afford the proper bedding. Just some cut up toilet paper just for the meantime, just rough it up, and honestly they love it. They tear it up, and it's awesome. No cedar or pine is actually really bad for their respiratory system. They have a really tiny respiratory system, so when they're breathing in all of this dust and extra cedar and extra pine, it can really affect them, cause them to have respiratory problems, and it can lead them to going to the vet, and it's overall just not good. So I would stay away from those. Hamster toys. So natural wood toys are really great. I use this image because it has a lot of great wood toys in it. I think I used all of these when I had a hamster. They were really fun. The teeter totter, I know my hamster loves those. You will see a lot, which I didn't think I put in here, but a lot of like hanging and other sort of climbing stuff. That's more for like mice, because mice like to climb. Hamsters, they don't climb as much, so just you don't need to get them hammocks or anything like that. They do love cardboard, so I used to just get rolled up, the old like toilet paper inserts and paper towel inserts, and they love those. And they love to get inside of the little hidey homes, and and there's so many different things that you can make with cardboard. And they love to chew it up. No hamster balls or cars. So these overall are just super, super bad. One major thing why, especially for the hamster balls, I mean both really, they can't see very well. So overall, hamsters are partially blind. They can really only see like up to like right here. And so hamsters, you're putting a hamster that's partially blind inside of a ball that's not, I mean, even the clear ones, it's very hard to tell where you're going, where you're seeing. They're running, they have no sense of direction or where they're going. They overall just don't really have a good sense of direction. So put that on top of inside of a ball is just, it's extremely dangerous. And plus, there's little like, you will see little breathing holes. Those breathing holes, actually, they're little. You see how tiny those little paws are? They can get their paws, and it can break their arm and do a bunch of stuff. So overall, not good on those either. All right, mesh versus non-mesh wheels and their effects on Syrian hamsters' feet. So here is a picture of a mesh wheel versus a picture of a non-mesh wheel. So in this chart over here that I added, when it says wheel revolutions per day, that means how many times per day they're using the wheel. This test was done on both male and female Syrian hamsters, as we can see in the bottom there. And for the males, they were using the hamster wheel a lot more for both mesh and non-mesh. Yet their latency to first wound, like they didn't get wounds as fast as the females did overall, even with their no mesh. But when it came to mesh, their wound latency skyrocketed. And they got both male and females, they got a lot more wounds in their feet. And here we can see, here's a picture of what those wounds can look like. This is called bumblefoot, and well, it can cause and it can lead to bumblefoot, which is an infection that you would need to take your hamsters to the vet for, which is serious and can cause. I mean, I've even heard of hamsters losing their legs over this. And not only just that, but they can also break their legs when they get their little hands and feet stuck in those little wire mesh squares. And overall, it's just a lot safer to get plastic wheels. And yeah, just stay away from the mesh wheels. A lot of people don't know about that, and it's very serious and a very very real thing that they've done studies on. Number 4, sand baths. So this is how they clean themselves. There's a picture of a very simple one, and simple is perfectly fine. Here's another very simple one. You basically just get any sort of non-toxic sand and you put it in a little dish and they scurry around and that's how they clean themselves and they love it. Any hamster you give it to, they roll around in it. They absolutely love it. However, the bigger the better. Here's a picture of a bigger one. This one's super pretty, super aesthetically pleasing. You don't really need like a super big one if you do not have the space, but if you do have the space, they're just gonna love it. This is what I used when I had my hamster. But honestly, like I said, any non-toxic sand should work. The only things I would stay away from is if they say powder on them, anything with powder, again, because they have small respiratory breathing problems and everything, you just should overall stay away from that. Number 5, food. So here's a quote from that vet that I was talking about earlier that I referenced. Hamsters require 1/8 to 1/3 cup of pellets per day. Seed-based diets are formulated and sold for hamsters, but these should be used sparingly. These are the pellet foods that the vet recommended. These two, I honestly forget which type of food I used. I did use a pellet food. I might have used a seed-based food at some point. I wasn't fully totally aware of the hamster food either, so until I did my research on this, and I totally agree that pellets for sure are better. Extra enrichment sprays. So, these are extras. You do not need them, but your hamster will love them. These are like little wheats or little greens that you can put all throughout your hamster's cage, just like this one over here. This one is super cool. How they did their whole entire enclosures is really awesome. They put a bunch of them and they love to just eat and chew these up, and they chew them, eat them, and they smell good. They make your enclosure smell good too. These, I do remember buying these Tropical Carnival wheat sprays. These are great, but they also sell a lot of them on Amazon and Etsy and stuff like that too. All right, next slide. These are my references. The first reference here was from that laboratory animals research study that we did on the bumblefeet and the female male Syrian hamsters. The second reference I used was that vet that I talked to you about earlier, and the one that I just quoted. She is from Pet MD. She did a really great journal about all of this, and I'd love to reference that because she went through over a lot of things. And then Rachel Victoria, the vet didn't really go over the sprays or the enrichment at all, or the extra enrichment. But Rachel, she makes hamster videos, and she goes over all of that, and yeah, it really opened me up. She was one of the first people that really opened me up to the whole world of proper hamster care. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked it. Here's some funny pictures of hamsters that are my favorite. They make me laugh. Um, let me know how I did, and see you later. Bye.